The Royal Knights of Yggdrasil and the 7 great demon lords of the Mao both had heard the story from Warumanzemon, what happened that day to start the ongoing war, and so Alphamon and Omegamon had decided to speak with Yggdrasil about this to see if there was any truth or not. The knights all used the special screens in front of them so that they could all see the answer from their king. The 2 leaders of the knights had gone to speak with Yggdrasil's 7D6 avatar to find out the truth. The leader of the knights then questioned what exactly happened that day when all this began, to which they'd responded that Digimon crossed over the border of the side of the Mao and the side of himself and his knight. Omegamon questioned if Yggdrasil knew that the Digimon that did so were children. Yggdrasil had told them that they had broken the treaty and thus were set to be eliminated for their transaction. This angered the knight, hearing all this, and Alphamon yelled at Yggdrasil about ordering the deaths of literal children simply because they wanted to be friends with the kids on the other side of the border. The supposed king told them that it didn't matter. Those that broke the treaty by crossing it had to be made an example of. Of children? Demanded Alphamon as he yelled at Yggdrasil, who simply said any Digimon must be made an example of, angering Omegamon, who activated their cannon and fired at the 7D6 before the leader of the Royal Knights could stop them, and the avatar of the digital world's supposed god used crystals to put up a barrier to stop it. Nicole says that's their cue and asked that Trailmon C89 and all the Digimon who aren't fighting to help get the citizens of the castle town into the train cars and out of range of the ongoing fight, as he and those that did fight flew or ran through the streets heading straight to the castle to help fight against the one that truly had started all this. Dino Tigermon had stayed behind with Kuzahamon and Sistermon Blanc to help evacuate everyone, telling them to get to the trains, along with Kulamon helping alongside Marine Angemon to hold back the rubble, putting up a big crystal barrier and heart-shaped bubble at the entrance to the castle yard after the others had gone inside to keep the debris from hitting citizens. Warumanzemon also helped to evacuate the place, helping to get the children of the town clear, along with any other Digimon that he'd come across as well, with Trailmon C89 getting as many of the Digimon he could and speeding off to get them a safe distance and letting them out before returning to collect any other Digimon that had been left so that he could keep getting them to safety as the other Trailmon there did the same. While the Digimon were being evacuated, Nicole had led the others to where Yggdrasil was fighting with Alphamon and Omegamon while in the form of Holy Draudamon, and they'd all busted through the door to join up with the other 2 knights. Yggdrasil, however, had grown angry seeing them all there, demanding to know who it is that would dare to intrude upon their throne. Nicole used his divine wing cannon to blow Yggdrasil's throne all to hell before speaking, saying, "A false throne for a false king," before turning to point it directly at Yggdrasil's 7D6 avatar, with a flash of purple dancing across his eyes before returning to normal. Lucas then spoke up next, telling them that they are the Digidestined, and those that stand beside them are those that believe in peace. Kat was the one to speak next, questioning what kind of psychopath orders the death of children just because they cross some imaginary line, as she and the others all prepared to fight against the digital world's supposed king, ready to stop him as they began to unleash everything, causing the large crystal shield that held back Omegamon's attack to crack and shatter, knocking the large avatar over, making them crash through what was left of the wall that once housed the throne that Nicole had destroyed. The avatar of the digital world's king had changed tactics and sent the shattered pieces of the crystal flying at them instead, as they did what they could to avoid the attack, though there were so many that it was difficult to do so, and a couple were hit. Holy Draudamon was almost one of them had Pangemon not pushed them out of the way in time and taken the attack himself, letting out a loud and pained roar as he slowly began to break down into data. The White Lion Digimon told the group to defeat them and end this ongoing war for good, handing over his blade to Nicole as one final token of his conviction as he faded into dust particles and his data blew away in the wind, and our Digidestined leader looked upset that a friend had died by their hands, standing up, holding the blade in his hand, before glaring at Yggdrasil, his eyes changing to the color purple. The others had grown angry and so tried to fight them as Nicole looked at the blade of Panjamon, upset as tears slowly began to spill from the loss of a friend he'd worked with many times over the month, and grew more upset still as a strange aura began to flow around him, shooting out in small bursts, getting faster and faster as they'd done so as he looked up at Yggdrasil, who was still trying to hurt the others. A strange symbol appeared onto the multi-tool as the burst grew wild and out of control, cracking the screen as the symbol appeared inside the burst of energy, being wavy and distorted, unfocused, though everyone, even Yggdrasil, stopped to see what was happening, with Magnamon questioning if that was a crest. Something about it seemed off and unfocused. Alphamon had said that it didn't seem quite right as Holy Draudamon began to change form into something strange. The form had been unlike anything they'd seen thus far, and it felt wrong somehow, like it shouldn't be happening, and this new form was wild and unfocused as it lashed out at everything around it, causing massive damage to the surrounding area, as well as the 7d6 Yggdrasil avatar and those of the group were doing what they could to avoid the attack.